Oh, there you go. I like your paintings in the background. Those are really beautiful paintings.
Oh, you can see it well?
Yeah, I can see them pretty well. Yeah, they look really cool.
Thank you. Is nobody else on yet? I thought they were signing up for open mic, or we don't get to hear that.
We're just waiting for everybody else to come on. That there's a few coming on Zoom. I don't know where they are. Oh, there's Jennifer. I was just thinking of Jennifer. She's usually prompt.
So who goes first tonight?
We're gonna have Jennifer, and then we're gonna have Kathleen, and then we'll have you.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
Jennifer, are you awake?
I'm here, just getting everything, getting all my settings.
Oh, there you go. So what's the weather like in Ontario? Is it snowing?
Oh no.
No, not yet.
No, it's not here, not yet. It's rainy tonight.
Okay, just like
And sort of cool. You'd be right at home.
That's rainy and cool here too.
But we had an absolutely gorgeous weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 20, 21, sunny.
Oh.
Yeah, it was beautiful and very unseasonal.
Yeah, awesome. And there's David.
Mute.
Or is that Kathleen?
Unmuted.
Okay.
Hello, Kathleen.
And where are we? Oh, I'm sort of here. You can't see me.
You're muted.
chair.
We can hear
No.
you.
What I figured was myself.
Oh, we're unmuted. We're unmuted.
You're unmuted.
I can't
There
hear
you
you.
go. There she is.
Oh, no
There's
sound.
Kathleen.
Oh, sorry. Just got the volume
I'm
up.
going to turn the light on.
You're going to turn the light on so I can actually see me. Good.
Oh, there. Oh, and there. Well, now she's blocked by David. David's just trying to block.
Check.
Oh,
Oh, so we must be at David's place because there's books behind the background. There's no birds.
yes, that's it. That's it.
See, I'm gonna get this now. I'm gonna know when we're
Yeah,
when you're at your
stay-
place. You got the birds, and at David's place, we got the books behind us.
Yeah, he's the reader. He's got cable, see?
Ah,
Yeah, so it's more reliable.
there you go. Well, we got the library behind two people, Jennifer and there, and you. So only if I could read those books, what they say, that'd be awesome. I only have that good eyesight.
I keep trying to read Jennifer's. I can't.
No, I can't read Jennifer's either.
No.
She looks like she got some good books there.
I think she's got
Oh,
a
yeah.
special blur titles.
You can
thing.
buy them.
Yeah, you can buy a blur
wallpaper.
titles background.
I've got a virtual library of Karl Marx, which I hang up in the background.
I love the library. I'll pick a book out.
You're not here.
Next
all
time
right.
you come visit, no. We'll just do that. We can have a library change
You can sit closer to me.
change books for people.
You can move there.
So was it raining over in Gibson's today?
Yes, pouring, yes.
No,
Yeah.
Yes.
no.
Oh, there we are. You see, it's pouring. It's not.
Now we know who went outside today, David.
Yeah. So Kathleen must have stayed indoors all day
No, we were outdoors together.
until she went over to David's.
It's now.
Yes, you. Okay, pouring.
Wasn't later.
It wasn't
earlier.
earlier, but now it is.
Okay.
Did
So
you
this
guys
evening
get to
we're
look
going to
at
do
the?
a dialogue about the weather.
I think we should just bicker.
Kathleen, did you guys look at the video from September?
Yes. It's hard for me to do that.
And Char says she's sorry she was so late on it. It
Oh, no, that was good.
was good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I send a link to everybody I know.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, you're an amazing person. Thanks again for inviting all your friends when you were here, and
Well, that was wonderful.
especially I've got the person from Germany. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I don't know how she stayed up late. That was late, like 3 a.m. her time, and oh.
I know. She said she went to work and they had like a staff meeting and she fell asleep.
Oh no. Well, I'm sorry. We can apologize. We'll send a letter to her work, and I'll say I'm so sorry that
We kept her partying in Canada. Up
Yeah.
those Canadians just kept her up too late.
Yeah.
Those poor British, only not Canadians, but British Columbia Canadians. Gotta get it right.
Okay, that's good. I haven't got the eyesight now.
It's okay we keep Jennifer up because she can just go to sleep, stay in bed all day tomorrow. Shouldn't have to go anywhere. Hopefully.
I got to get up for work. Now, mind you, I don't have to go anywhere, but
Oh,
I have to stumble down to my work computer.
Oh, that's not that bad.
I think
Could be worse.
to get our attention.
And if you're your own boss, it's like what can you do? Fire yourself?
Yeah, well, I'm not my own boss, but
Oh, okay. Then it's then
no,
you get to
no.
work on time.
Canada life. I am a tiny cog on a gigantic wheel.
Oh,
There you go.
aren't we all?
Better not be late.
But it's in your house, so you're your office manager, Jen. That helps.
Exactly. I'm the office manager, so
There you go. So yeah, I guess you could have lateness. That's why you have to have your own business, and then when you're late, what can you do? You can't fire yourself.
yeah.
Good, but then you're out of a job.
People
Now to
can't.
be fine. I don't have to go far. I just have to make it down to the study.
There you go. Hello, Karen. I'm hoping that's right. I'm hoping that's Karen. So, I'm just gonna go with that. Hello. Oops.
There, I got you.
Hello, Karen.
Are you gonna read tonight?
Hello. No,
No, just gonna listen. Okay.
I'm just gonna listen. Maybe next time.
All right. That's okay. We like an audience.
But you do have to tell us what you will read next time. Now you see that comment.
How about a poem next time then?
Tell us about what you're going to read.
Hold it to it.
Oh, okay. Oh, I don't know.
So, Karen, did you get out the canal in the beautiful fall we had at all?
Nope, I'm too busy trying to get our yard in order.
I know that one.
We've been taking trees out. We took 5 out on one side there, and we're trying to get it ready for grass.
Oh, wow.
Tired of leaves.
Uh-huh. Then you can get tired of cutting grass, too.
Well, that's true, but my husband has a ride and lawnmower, so he just bombs around on that. So
Perfect.
that'll work.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
How we doing? Oh,
I think we should get a bunch of goats.
There's a good idea.
Yeah, goat. Well, the city can hire goats, and everybody can have, rent them for a day or two.
Yeah.
When I lived out at the lake, my lawn used to take me 6 hours to cut it from start to
Ouch.
finish. First cut every.
Oh my God.
So
No,
house
thank
I
you.
have in town now, I can cut the grass in 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, it's plenty.
Yes, don't want too much grass.
Yeah, I believe in a lot of gravel. I zen as much of your yard as possible.
You know what? We put a lot of rocks in, but that got to be a nuisance too because you get all the needles and leaves stuck in between the rocks. And I'm looking at it thinking, oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Can't win.
No, just have trees and just rocks around the trees. No big deal.
No trees. I don't.
I love trees and flowers.
And lots of flowers.
There you go.
Good.
You could do AstroTurf.
There we go.
You know what? That's not a bad idea. In
We never
between,
have to cut it.
in behind one of our ponds, we put AstroTurf. Looks great.
I think that's a good idea. We'll just tell the city that we're all going to go off. There we go.
Never have to cut it.
That's right. It always look green all year round.
Even in the drought.
Yeah, and then
They
the
gotta make it,
inspector,
but they got to make it heated so when it snows, it just melts. When it lands there, it just melts it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, when it snows, I'm staying inside.
Hello. but I like it. Art. I think that's the way to go. I think.
Actually, there's a woman that just won a prize in Canada for, she's an ecologist, and she showed that any little tiny piece of, grass and whatever that allows insects and birds and so forth, that even the smallest piece, like on the side of roads, in between roads, actually is good.
Yeah.
It all has a cumulative effect. She won a prize for that.
There was hardly any fruit on the trees or berries this year.
No,
Mm.
Oh, what's her name? Hey.
Oh, Atma's
you're on the-
here.
Yeah, you're on the list. Hello. I don't even know what's her.
Atma's
Hi,
Hello. What's your first name?
Atma.
Atma.
Ma.
Atma.
Atma.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to turn my video off for a minute because I'm still eating my
No
dinner.
problem.
Oh, see, David, we only have your name on the screen.
oh dear.
Yeah,
We'd better
you see,
change
you
that.
left me out here.
Okay.
What is it? Participants, and then there's, I don't know I can't remember how to do it. Shoot. Oh,
Kathy's concerned that her name does not appear
yeah, I
beside
know, but I
mine.
can't do
And
it.
this is a kind of a major,
Our
Oh,
technical person is on it right now.
oh really? Oh,
That's Char. She's the technical person.
oh good.
It's all about gender equality here at Electric Mermaid, you know.
As long as she doesn't squish my name up too small in order to make room for Kathy.
Okay, David. Yes, David has the books. Kathleen has the blackbirds,
The book's falling.
and according to her, David has cable.
Yeah.
So I take it Kathleen does not have. She has internet though, don't you? At home?
What do you know? Oh, good. Mine's first now.
Thank
Thank you, Char.
Of course, of course. Got to go in the order you have that you're reading.
Yay! Yes. Well done. Oh, everyone's gone quiet. I think because it's 6 o'clock, we better mute.
Almost time. Wait for the Char's cue.
Yeah,
Wait
the
for Char's
producer.
cue.
The
Okay.
producer.
Yeah.
That looks like a very comfy little love seat or couch there in the background of Karen's place. I like it with the red and the. Oh, it looks really comfy. Are you ready? Producer, I feel ready.
You got any
Oh.
readers I need to know about?
You got Vicki, right?
The last one I have is Vicki. His
Yeah,
name-
that's it. That's it. Okay. Snowman Pool. Good evening. Electric Mermaid MC Derek Hanebury is a Port Alberni writer of poetry, fiction, and creative nonfiction who taught writing here at North Island College for many years. his latest book, Both Sides Now, is a collaboration of short fiction and with two of his past students. His upcoming solo collection, which is already out, entitled Something Else Altogether.
Thank you, Karl, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to another session of the Electric Mermaid here in beautiful downtown Port Alberni. Can everybody hear me okay out there in Zoom land? Big thumbs. I can see some nods. All good. Okay. A little bit more volume. Dean wants a little more volume there, Char, if you can do it. There we go. Last minute adjustments. How's that sound now, Dean? He's okay. That's a little bit louder. Is that okay, Dean, or is that too loud? Is that all right? Nobody's complaining, so we'll stick with that. All right. So, yeah, we're looking forward to hearing everybody read tonight, and looking forward to our feature reader. Bryce is going to join us from the Sunshine Coast there. And what's that? Or Maple Ridge, I should say. I'm sorry. And we want to start off by just saying we're glad to be here in Port Alberni on the unceded territory of the Petcheseth and Sishat First Nations. Glad they're sharing their land with us, even though it was under great duress that occurred. But anyway, here we are, and we are grateful to be able to gather here together and share our work in a nice, supportive community space like Char's Landing. And we want to say a big thank you to Char for all that she does in supporting this operation. Thank you, Char. Keeping things happy in the Zoom land as well as here in the live face-to-face, folks. I don't know about out there, but it's starting to look very scary here. The three-headed hound of hell is waiting at the front door of Char's when you come in. Oh, okay. Actually, I was mistaken for a part of the decoration a little bit earlier, but I've forgiven Joyce for that. So, I'm not going to say much more other than thank you to Karl, our moderator, who's lined up our readers tonight as well. Yeah, and big thank you to all of you who are joining us tonight, whether you're reading or just listening. And reminder to snag your friends for next time and bring them along. The more, the merrier. So we're going to start tonight with Jennifer Wenn reading to us all the way from Ontario. Let Jen go first, being the furthest afield. Good evening, Jennifer. How are you?
Not too bad, Derek. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Always happy to see your smiling face.
Thank you.
Always looking forward to hearing your poetry. It's always a treat. And I'll ask you afterwards how your book's coming along. So.
Yes, that would be great.
Good.
One little plug off the top. Words Fest London, a festival out here starts November the 4th, and a lot of the activities on the weekend, but there are some events after that and one or two before. But it is the events, well, there's in person, but they're online. Oh. And so you can get in from anywhere, and it's there's a lot of top flight authors that are participating in this. I'll put something into the Facebook group about that, put a link to it. But yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. And I'll mention one that's at noon Eastern time, so that'd be 9 out west on the Saturday. Poems in Response to Peril. It's the anthology that I did a piece from some time back. And this is another event in connection with that. And there's a bunch of readers of poets that are in the anthology. And it's there's an awful lot of poetic firepower in that book. So and I'm on the list to read, and so I'll be down there at Museum London, but it's online too. So I'll look in the Facebook group and I'll put a link up for that.
Fabulous.
Now, as far as the piece I'm going to do tonight, I'm looking forward a bit to November 20th, the Transgender Day of Remembrance. And that's always a very important day on the calendar for me, as you might imagine. And so with that in mind, I'm going to do one called Crossing Lines. I'm a trans person, and thus for some have crossed a line, become an unwanted, disruptive element, crashing the party of their comfortable psyches. It was not always thus. So long as my male avatar soldiered on, so long as my female truth remained bound and gagged, they were not disturbed. But this is not a whim or a whimsical choice, not some neurotic obsession, rather beyond psychology or sociology, deeper than marrow. This is our very soul, my very soul. So eventually and inevitably, while chanting, "To thine own self be true," a flaming sword sundered her bonds, and out she strode, only to be deemed a line violator, and for its guardians morph into a respect-free other, worthy only of glares or maybe a malicious shout of tranny. Nevertheless, she persisted, has since claimed a domain, found support, found friendship and community, but threats may lurk in any space, any encounter, like the vigilante at World Pride, who figured I'd crossed a line into being property and in broad daylight smugly grabbed my crotch. In darkly satisfying fantasies, I drilled him in the gonads or slapped his smirk into next week. Reality was sitting there being consoled by a young lady saying, "Don't worry, he always does that." But look around, I'm only one person. Look around and find that my vigilante's contagion is still very much here, flowing from the mouths and pens of malignant bigots ranging from so-called comedians who mock us, to wealthy authors who deny we even exist, to an adult film star ranting for us to be lynched. All this despite ostensible improvements and blossoming visibility. So yes, look around, as I'm just one woman, better off than most of my trans family. Many run gauntlets I am spared due to privileged location and economics. To my and society's shame, my Caucasian skin color confers benefits. And unlike a few folks I know, I have not been beaten. Now gaze farther afield over our oft dangerous globe and find it easy to descry locales dominated by those aghast at our audacity in merely being, who scoff at lesser and prefer abomination, eyeing a hellhole jail or execution to obliterate our transgression of their warped boundaries. But officialdom is not the end of it. Too many of us, wherever we are, incur the deadly wrath of the mob or the lone predator. Witness Dwayne not so many years ago. What line did she cross? Wanted to socialize as herself for the first time. Consequence? Beaten, stabbed, shot, and run over by self-appointed defenders of gender. Final words as she stood her ground, "I'm a girl." And here is Nikki, much more recent. Her line? Went on a date. Upon trans identity being disclosed, her sensitive companion felt no option but to strangle her with a phone charger cord and dump her on a hillside. Or consider Alexa, homeless, who was hunted down and assassinated for the unpardonable sin of using the ladies' room. And on the blood-soaked list goes. Dwayne, Nikki, Alexa, just three of far too many. I honor them in their bravery. I cry out that they blessed creation with priceless value and meaning. I refuse to forget their senseless, tragic, and often horrific deaths. I mourn lives cut far too short. I mourn potential unrealized. I mourn for those who cared about them. I weep for their awful suffering. I rage and howl at a world that still harbors hatred such as this. My name is Legion, hissed the demon, and some would cast us in the same role, would likewise cast us into swine to be drowned. But we aren't going anywhere, for we are children of God. We are a host demanding the erasure of all those infernal lines, demanding an end to the hatred and violence, demanding justice for the victims and judgment for the guilty, demanding space free from fear alongside everyone else, celebrating our wondrous and excruciating journeys and the wisdom only they can bring forth, celebrating our incomparable beauty and strength. For yes, we are a host, living and spirit, with gifts for humanity beyond measure, that was in the front line at Stonewall, then somehow pushed off the progress train. But no more, never again. We aren't going anywhere, for yes, we are children of God. We are a host demanding the eradication of those infernal lines, demanding an end at last to the hatred and violence, demanding justice now for the victims and judgment for the guilty, demanding space for all of us free from fear, celebrating our wondrous and excruciating journeys and the wisdom only they have brought forth, celebrating our incomparable beauty and strength. For yes, we are a host with gifts for humanity beyond measure, and we will finally claim our place in the sun. Indeed, we will haunt the earth till doomsday in unceasing quest of that better tomorrow. Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful, Jennifer. That was
Thank you.
so moving. Thank you. Thank you. And I honor your courage and the courage of so many people who have been able to come forward and say, this is who I am, and I'm going to live as who I am. And, you know, I think many straight people have no idea what that kind of courage is and what it requires. So, yeah. Kudos.
Thank you. It's
Beautiful poem.
thank you very much. It's so difficult and dangerous for too many of us.
Yeah.
It truly is.
Yeah.
I have my own experiences and all that, but nothing compared to what some people have had to go through. And it's, in a lot of ways, in some quarters, it looks like it's getting worse these days, not better. So I keep protesting
Yeah.
in my own way.
And that's the only way it's going to get better, right? So thank you for doing that. And yeah, it seems like so many things, everything seemed to be getting so much more, accepting and open. And there's the backlash that comes, right? And in one way, I can't help but think it's inevitable that those backlashes have to come in order for those things to be brought up to the surface for to be seen and to be dealt with. So it doesn't make it an easier time to live through, though, unfortunately, I'm sure. But,
No.
Yeah.
You mentioned my book.
Mm-hmm. How's it coming?
It's coming. The cover is nailed down.
Good.
And the text is close. We've had a couple of rounds of proofing, and it's fairly big. So it takes a little while to go through it. But I'm thinking that any day I should be getting something back from the publisher, and this might have the text nailed down because there wasn't too much left.
Beautiful. So then December might be a possibility for a feature?
December may well be. December is a possibility, but I can't. Yeah, there's no guarantees. It depends upon when Karanish gets back to me with this latest batch, and I don't have control. Now, when he does, then I would think that it should be available on Amazon fairly soon.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, we're still debating what's going to happen in December, whether we're going to have the Electric Mermaid at the usual time or earlier in the month or take the month off. So we'll keep you as the front runner for the feature and play things by ear as things evolve here. So
thanks, Derek.
Super. Thanks so much for the reading. Appreciate it. All right. Our next reader is Kathleen Vance, coming to us this time from the Sunshine Coast, for sure. How are you tonight, Kathleen?
Oh, I'm fine. I just wanted to say, Jennifer, that line, crashing the parties of their comfortable psyches. I'll remember that one. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So now it's a completely different,
Well, we can't have that all night.
It was too late. Susan had not seen the hypodermic in the woman's hand. Susan had no time to react as the woman leaned over her. The woman's arm went taut to force the needle in, but the needle simply slid in, just like the time Susan's younger brother had been using the kitchen knife to cut the string for his kite, which he had been making so carefully of folded newspaper and long twigs. "Stop! Hold the knife pointing away from you," Susan had shouted, but too late. She had watched open-mouthed as the knife slid into his eye and then slipped out just as easily. He hadn't reacted at all, but she had grabbed the knife from him just the same. Or maybe, Susan thought, it was like her friend who was walking home from a movie one night in Philadelphia and had been stabbed by some kid. "I never felt the knife go in," she had said. "But as the kid pulled the knife out to stab me again, the pain was excruciating." Still, her friend had survived. But now Susan felt the pain of the needle being pushed and twisted. Then she remembered her older brother, the one who had been buried alive. He said that as soon as he started to hear the endless pitter-patter, and then even worse, the thud, thud, thud of the shovelfuls of dirt hitting the lid of the box that was to be his coffin, he knew he had to take his mind to a different place. And he did, to a place so far away that they had dug him up before time. "Why weren't you begging for us to dig you up? No one's lasted this long before. We were afraid the air hose had kinked and you had lost consciousness," they had shouted at him. But being buried was part of his survival training for the Air Force, and they hadn't wanted to kill him. Better, Susan thought, to copy her dead brother, who had come down from the peak of the mountain he had just scaled and been so hot from exertion that he had plunged into the first lake he had come to. The lake had shone such a brilliant blue in the sun, but as soon as he went under the icy water, his heart had stopped. He had not fought the coldness as he sank, trusting his companion would haul him out. And her brother hadn't died, not that time. And so this day, Susan too gave up resisting. An hour later, the dentist in her white jacket gently touched Susan's forearm. "Not to worry. I told you you'd be getting a nice gold crown out of this." The end.
Can always count on you for surprises, Kathleen. Thank you. Thank you. Enjoyed that. All right, we're going to have our featured reader now and give Herb Bryce his due here. And so glad to have you on, Herb. And we got you swapped around there with Pat, and everything's good, and you're going to be able to move, and that's nice. Flexibility. That's what it's all about, right?
Thanks, Derek.
Yeah, so let me tell everybody a little bit about Herb for those who don't know. And Herb's been with us on the Electric Mermaid here for, well, ever since COVID, for sure. I mean, I think you were on in one of the early Zoom sessions we had there, and have been on and off since. So Herb is the author of Chasing a Butterfly, created out of the depressing yet inspirational journey of his late wife's Alzheimer's. So courage there to write a book like that about something that must have been incredibly difficult to go through. And I've always liked your poetry for the head-on way you go at things, Herb, what you read. So he was a judge for the Rabindranath Tagore International English Poetry Competition in 2017. His poetry appears in anthologies in India, the US, Canada, and Bolivia, as well as magazines such as the Ekphrastic Review, New World Review, and Spain's international publication Azahar. He is a frequent contributor to the Royal City Literary Arts Society's eZine Wordplay at Work, and a regular reader at various poetry societies, such as the Electric Mermaid and Vancouver's Poetry Cafe radio show, where he was featured most recently on May 19th, 2022. So CFRO 100.5 FM. So he's a member of the Royal City's Poetic Justice and Poetry in the Park, where he's known as the Bard in the Park, and the Federation of British Columbia Writers. So Herb is known also for his readings at retirement homes and care homes. Is published via Friesen Press out of Victoria and is always available also through Amazon, and bookstores should also be able to order it if you go to your local bookstore. So Herb holds a BA in English and journalism. He blogs on Facebook, and maybe Karl will put that that URL up in the chat for you there. So we're really happy to have you here tonight, Herb, and looking forward to what you're going to share with us. So I'll give you the screen, the stage, whatever you want to call it. It's all yours for the next 20 minutes or so.
Thank you so much, Derek. Appreciate that. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this. Yours is one of my favorite places to be reading. So I'm going to take you on a little journey tonight. I've chosen initially 3 poems. And I've got another 2 on hand. Depends how we go. So this is called The Road to Peace. The road to peace lies along Forgiveness Boulevard, where minds come to meet and lead their masters to Understanding Street, at Mutual Square, where hands tend to shake other hands in friendly greeting and lead each other to Hugger's Lane, where compliments are served and invitations are exchanged, where candles are lit only in celebration of life itself, and eyes shine with delight to see you, whoever you are. For this is the center of Friendship State, a country of conviviality and grace, where celebration replaces disputes and wars. This is where kindness is stocked in abundance and granted free, in exchange for one's misery and grudges and put-downs and threats. This is where Freedom Cross is located, to greet all pilgrims from anguish and disillusionment, from cruelty and torture and bombings and shootings. In this land of peace, smiles have dominion over hate and are given freely instead of having to be smuggled in. Come, walk with me along. Sorry. Come, walk with me along Forgiveness Boulevard, where dreams are built. This is the land of incense and roses, where one's nose follows its dream, where feelings are warm and good, and touch becomes more sensitive to the human inside the human. And the eyes see more clearly now, and on a clear day it can see forever. And you can see into another soul and see oneself there. A unity not otherwise recognized in daily toil. This is where the taste of honey greets the pessimistic tray and shares that sweet nectar of love. This is the home the soul that is destined to find and to dwell in with fellow converts from wild abandon and indulgence and enmity. The 7 deadly sins do not dwell here. This is faith without prejudice. This is where lives nirvana, Zen, and all the gods of peace and love and respect and dignity and eternal love of thy neighbor, welcoming all who flee evil. This is the ultimate peace. Come, walk with me along Forgiveness Boulevard, where the sun always triumphs over the rain and the hail of hatred, and the lanes of transgression are foiled by the simple love of fellow being. Simple choice, life over strife, to life over death of will and lousy choices, choice of survival made possible, peace, the easier, wiser path. Thank you for listening. I have a rather longer one here now. It's called Music Can Do That. Have you ever seen a grown man cry? A man distraught and don't know why? Life can hurt so hard he want to die because he thinks his life has been a lie. Have you? Well, turn the music on because music salves the bitter tears. Music will carry you through the years and lift you up to carry on. Music can do that for you. I need to hear that music now. Play it for me, play it now. I need to hear the farmer's plow. Put your bullets down, my men. They only make you die. Put your bullets down right now. They will make your widow cry, won't they? They will make your children bitter, and they will shoot and they will die. And sad the music that will play as you kneel and as you pray. Listen to the music, won't you? But listen to the music, man. Music can help to heal the holes that bullets yield when bullets deal in pain and sorrow for you to feel. Listen to the music. Music talks and it can tell in whispers what your voice would yell. Put your rifle down, my man. There's no need to kill at all. Listen to the music, won't you? Have you ever heard a widow cry? Have you ever wondered why such bitterness controls the world? Why we dance in such a world? Have you? Well, instead, try listening to the song the children sing. They sing it for their missing ones who died by bullet without a song. Listen to the music. Listen to the children's song. Listen to the children sing. If that don't ring right true, you are a hard-hearted thing. The children sing it true, don't they? Have you ever heard a lifer cry? He's rued each cruel act and lie. For sure he does not want to die. For once his prayer is not a lie. Is it? So he will kneel and he will pray and he will sing a hymn to stay. And if you hear his plaintive cries, you will join his choir of sighs, because music will do that to you. Have you ever seen a mother cry bitter tears for one who died at the barrel of a gun? No one here has ever won when bullets fly, have they? Have you ever heard the heavens cry? They cry for all of those who die needlessly when bullets fly. Bullets only make you die, don't they? So won't you put your rifle down, trade it for a song and sing it down? Because music soothes the savage breast, and won't you work for peace and rest? Well, won't you? You ever heard a veteran cry? Have you heard him asking God, why? And have you heard him once decry all his sins that cloud his sky? Well, have you? Have you ever heard a policeman cry? He cried until his tears ran dry for all of those he couldn't save and all the ones the bullets crave. Well, have you? And have you heard the fireman cry? His tears could make the fires die. Bullet powder fired the blaze that left the city in a daze. Listen to the music. Well, have you ever seen a killer cry because he's killed and wants to die? Have you ever heard of such a thing? A dying crow with a broken wing? Well, have you? Have you ever heard a small child crying at his mother's side as she lay dying? Shot by a bullet, bought to kill by an angry soul with a twisted will? Have you? Music can break or heal your heart. Music and you should never part. Play the music, play it now. Make my peace, make bullets bow. I need to hear that music now. Play it for me. Play it now. I need to hear the farmer's plow. Put your bullets down. They only make you die, don't they? Listen to the music. Music will soothe your soul. Music can do that for you. Listen, listen, listen to the music. Thank you so much. Well, here's one which is inspired by another poem, one by John Drinkwater, a poem called On Lady Street. It fired me up and it inspired me. And my poem began as Music in the Street, because this poem put me back in time to Yonge Street, Toronto, back when we were young and vital. And they cordoned off the whole street and opened it up to the people and to the jazz people and the sellers, and it became People Street, which is what this poem is now called. The lonely saxophone wails its lonely notes up the street and out of sight and draws me there. He plays all day, he plays all night, he haunts my mind of yesterday. And there he sits upon the curb, transporting me to unknown heights. Oh, oh, oh. Off in the distance. The traffic stopped. It's not allowed. Only people here today on People Street. All is neat. The foodies hawk their wares, tempt the air with tempting treats. And with the music in the street, they kill all signs of deep despair. Hot dogs, hamburgers, popsicles for the few.
Herb, something's happened with your microphone. When you turned your head the last time, the volume has gone down.
Yeah,
I don't want to miss a precious word. Sorry.
yeah, the music was disappearing. This is what passes as music with me. Here's where all hands meet. As music fills the street, the hawkers sell what hawkers do. They sell the faves, they sell the new. They offer discs, they offer tapes. They offer oils of people, scapes of sea, or mountain view. Little ones are catered to with ice cream cones and kites and exotic toys, t-shirts and pop, caramel, popcorn, or Viking hats complete with horns. Shopkeepers are busy bees, their wares fly off their racks. Many books are bought off their stacks. Pancakes sell in dozens packs down here on People Street. Musicians play everywhere. The bands play tunes, the people stare and clap and cheer and move on to hear the next. The soloist, the guitarist, the tubas, the trumpets, violins and all the while, people dine upon some English crumpets. And laughter fills the air, and dancers attract the crowds that stare. The street is filled with joy everywhere. You can smell the laughter, feel the glee, taste the grins of romping little ones. A smile caresses your happy face as you see the happiness in the air that tickles the hairs inside your ears out there on People's Street. And even politicians who voted all this in are popular this day. Down here where music lives along the street and echoes everywhere and fills our hearts and thrills our souls as it fills our empty music bowls. There is no sadness in the street this day. It is not allowed. Today is a festival of friends, not an enemy in sight, no such thing. No one gives a kid a fright, and we all carry on through the dead of night. We grow content and smile a mile as we dance our way back home with music notes all the way to tuck the littlies into bed at our home in People Street. We wish the music would always stay. The bands do not compete. They turn, and each turn is played complete to festive folks in festive state. Festooned a ribbon with boots that groove, satisfaction lands without delete, and smiles are lit on faces all, and everyone is walking tall down here on People Street. They'll walk light this morning to work, and production most certainly will get a boost. And of pleasure, workers all will boast, as if only music fills the street. For these folk will have no care, for they have danced along the street and they have celebrated the power of music at its beat down here on People Street. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful, Herb. Thank you so much taking us down the street.
I don't know how
Another one there?
Sorry?
Have you got another poem there?
Yeah, I don't know what the time is, but my timing was that I haven't filled 20 yet.
I think we're probably okay for one more. Sure,
Okay.
go for it.
All right. You don't have to be. You don't have to be Christian, but if you love thy neighbor as you love yourself, you will be honoring all Christians. You don't have to be a Muslim, but if you honor your mother and father and keep your faith, you will be honoring all Muslims. You don't have to be a Sikh, but if you ever done good to others, you will have honored all Sikhs. And you don't have to be a Hindu, but if you have ever practiced morals, then you have honored all Hindus. And you don't have to be a Jew or believe in Judaism, but if you believe in spiritualism, if you have silently prayed to the Maker or the Great Spirit above, then you have honored all Jews. You don't have to be a Buddhist, but if you believe in nobility of truth, then you have honored all Buddhists. And you don't have to be all things to all men, but if you have been true to your true self, then you have honored your fellow man. And if you have ever lived for others, if you have honored these beliefs, and if you have lived up to your own honest truth, we shall all be one, and there will be peace. So you don't have to join a religion to be a good person, but you're free to join the one in which you believe. If you have comforted someone in their hour of need, you will have been of the universal faith. You don't have to be, but you are, because God or nature has made you. You are your own image in this world. Cultivate it with truth, loyalty, love, and enrichment. For if you believe in Buddha, then you believe in peace. If you believe in Jesus, then you believe in brotherhood. If you believe in Islam, then you believe in sharing. If you believe in spiritualism, then you have faith. And so, if you believe in the gurus who teach cooperation and togetherness, then you dwell in the soul of goodness. And together we shall make everlasting peace, and we shall build the great new world that we all dream of, sans hate, sans war, sans revenge. For there is no higher belief than peace. If you believe in nothing else, believe in peace. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Herb. That was lovely. Yeah, unity and diversity. That's our message
Mm.
for sure. Beautiful. Yeah, so all of your poems have those beautiful messages built into them, and it's easy to see where you take your inspiration from and your your passion and your commitment to people getting along and being in peace and living with each other and enjoying music together and poetry together. Yes.
So much easier that way.
Absolutely. It should be so easy, shouldn't it? I know.
Yeah.
And then our little egos get in the way and complicated and conflicts arise and yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, we're working on it. That's why we're here still. So just wondering if anybody out there has any questions they want to ask Herb, we could pass that along. And anybody here in the house, just shout it out to me and I'll repeat it over the Zoom world. Anybody have anything they want to ask Herb about? No. All right. I'll ask what, who were your poetic inspirations when you first started writing poetry, Herb? Did you have any particular poets that really spoke to you that said, gee, I want to do that? Is that what happened?
Not in the beginning, no. No, I just tried to do it. It really was Anne and the Alzheimer's trip that turned me to a serious go at poetry, because it is such a difficult journey that I really wasn't coping, and she wasn't coping, and I couldn't even speak. So along came the Alzheimer's Society, and they gave us a 6-week education course. And the only way I could speak at the forums was to put down some kind of a rhyme. And those people, God bless them, made the mistake of encouraging me. So from there, yeah. And then since then, I've kind of fallen in love with Keats and Wordsworth and Tennyson and so on, and Dylan Thomas and all the old masters, for sure.
Yeah. Beautiful. And the world is a better place for it that they encouraged you, Herb. We're so glad they did.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your gift with us tonight.
You bet. Thank you.
All righty, we're going to go back to some open micers now. And I think I've got David Kippling as the next person lined up there. So Kathleen can shuffle over and give David the screen.
Yeah, okay.
There we
Okay,
go.
that's I'm at the awkward stage now with cataracts or without cataracts.
Oh dear.
I'm with or without glasses, I'm equally blind. Everything is just a tiny bit out of focus. Oh, here we go. This is 300 or 400 years in the future. A short story. Salt had built this city, now in ruins below her, or rather the fortunes that cruel men had once made from the salt had built warehouses and evaporation plants and employee barracks and hospitals for the hordes of the sick and injured from the great salt works. Those ghostly buildings that still stood did so encased in a crust of salt that clung to the pitted cement and corroded ironwork. The adjoining bay, once a busy port, was a grey, flat expanse devoid of life. A stunted variety of tree had attempted to retake the barren surroundings, but it was checked by the poisonous soil and the bitter fluid stagnating in the canals and sluices around the city. The company's century-old plantations of decorative steel trees had been installed during a desperate publicity campaign, but had long ago shed their metal twigs and leaves onto rotten concrete. Nothing flew overhead or crept along the deserted streets. Shirley Ferris had been studying the abandoned Mediterranean town of Corbière for 3 years now. Her technical team lived safely in an encampment elevated on stilts 10 kilometers from the western quarantine wall of Corbière, when not doing their analysis in the laboratory in Marseille. During her first 2 years of duty, Shirley had even entered Corbière on the ground with her isolation truck, and a handful of times had stepped briefly from its steel casing to collect samples or objects that the hydraulic arms could not dislodge. But 2 years' exposure had been enough, and the medics had revoked her permission to be on the ground within city limits. Nowadays, she operated a drone, or on occasions like this one, drifted above the perilous research zone in a dirigible, an airship whose silent maneuvers rendered even more eerie the constant creaking and whistling sounds of the empty town below. The geologists finally abandoned their hypothesis that the sounds might be coming from fracturing strata in the desiccated fault lines of the Great Mediterranean Salt Dome. Shirley had seen the UHF tracings from satellite detectors. She had pages of them, laminated and pinned on a corkboard back at headquarters. They gave her nightmares. Though trained as a petroleum chemist, as was the tradition for women in her family going back generations, Shirley was engineer enough to know that these frequencies were artificially generated, not geophysical phenomena. The frequencies matched exactly those extraordinary wavelengths first picked up 5 years ago at the Chinese Large Array Radio Telescope in Guizhou Province, and only released to international scientists 6 months ago. From an unimaginable distance, something was talking to Earth. Now Shirley tilted the ailerons on the airship and dipped it silently towards the old Place du Soleil, at the hub of Corbière's once hustling avenues. 500 years ago, art and medical science had flourished in this Mediterranean town, colleges and studios springing up and drawing the world's attention. Bishops' palaces and bull rings and medieval festivals had made its name worldwide. But then General Salt Incorporated had secured their license in perpetuity to produce salt here, and even peasant wine growers began to flee from its thinly settled hinterlands. That was in the past, and today was a bleak February 2330. Shirley Ferris was 34 years old and on the brink of long-planned motherhood. The nation and the planet were largely at peace, and her hillside farm home and private laboratory, your Sunday hobby lab, Shirley's wife affectionately called it, in a sheltered valley outside Avignon, had been lodged securely in Shirley's mind as her family's safe haven for the foreseeable future. But now, as she stared down through the armored glass of her windshield at what just yesterday had been recognizable as a desolate city square, her shoulders rose in the tight safety harness and she cringed in revulsion, groping for the rosary at her throat. As they clambered clumsily up towards her, she shouted and shouted, "Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for our sins now and at the hour of our death." And she vomited. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, David. Oh my God.
It's not supposed to be funny.
Yeah, I know. So, is there going to be another part to this next?
There is a second chapter, the same length.
All right.
But I don't know where to go after that.
You definitely whetted our appetite. We'll be waiting with bated breath. Okay. Thank you. All right. We're moving on to Atma Frans, coming to us from Gibson's Landing. Welcome, Atma.
Hi, thanks for having me. I brought 2 poems. They're both quite light-hearted. The first one is a portrait of my mother-in-law when I met her the very first time, and it was published in Lighthouse Literary Journal in the UK. Lilacs, freesias, roses, jasmine. You meet your lover's mother, launching in her garden, straw hat tipped, ice cubes in a heavy glass. Polaroid glasses mirror the topiary elephant. My son needs a nice Catholic girl, she says. She means not a woman, not you, bright and confident. Laughter catches in your throat. Her legs stiffen beneath iron smooth linen. Toes point, precise tips of a compass about to set the course. And the next one was published by OK Donkey Press. It's called Anyway, It's Tuesday. Anyway, it's Tuesday. And this morning, when you step out of the bath, the mirror laughs at the wrinkles cartwheeling down your belly and the slack-jawed skin just hanging around. Your once round-shouldered breasts flap about, not quite sure what is still expected of them. You survey the age spots, scars, and crooked bits, marks of the time you trotted your body through life like a cocky suitcase. And then you towel it, this loyal, beautiful friend. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Atma. I love the compression of your poetry. You get so much in so few words. That first poem especially, you know, I just think about how much we learned about the characters and the dynamic in so little. It was jammed. That was beautiful. Really nice. Thank you. Thank you. Please join us again. All right. And our next, we finally have an in-house reader here. Victoria, where are you? Victoria-Roumanis. Roscoe where did she go? Oh, there she is. She's going to come up to our open mic stand here and be the first one to break in the microphone there. And after Victoria, we've got Joe Lunchbucket, another in-house reader waiting in the wings there. You're on deck, Bob. Start swinging the bat. All right. There's Victoria.
There. Oh, I won't hold my head up that high.
Yeah, we don't want you on your tiptoes the whole time.
I don't think I can hold my head up. I can't hold my head up and read at the same time. Okay. Well, lovely to be here again, and lovely to hear everybody that's gone before. That was wonderful.
Char's going to bring up the volume a little bit, I think, there, Victoria. Yeah.
Okay. Would you like me to say something so you can
Sure,
hear?
keep speaking.
Okay. Is that it? Okay. The first one is experience with fire. Can you hear that? Did that work? Experience with fire? No, maybe a bit higher. I'm wonderful. Thank you. Oh, wow. Thank you, Charlene. I will be back. Okay. Well, you know better than me. I should have left it where you put it first. Okay. Right. Right. Experience with fire. And this is a warning. It was Christmas, and my partner and I were enjoying a special dinner together. The table was festively decorated, and at the end of the table, I had put 3 tall wax candles in glass holders. Just next to the candles, I had placed the beautifully romantic Christmas card I had received. We were enjoying our meal and conversation. Our attention was not on the far end of the table. Suddenly, my peripheral vision saw fire. One of the tall candles had tumbled out of its holder and was lying flat on the table. The Christmas card had caught fire. The tablecloth was burning, and the wooden table below it was burning also. If we had not acted at that exact moment, the drapes would have caught fire. My partner jumped into action and quickly snuffed out the flames. I rescued the Christmas card and its loving words. The card has burn marks down one side, but the message is still there. How fortunate it was that we were sitting at the table. Had we been in another room, there would definitely have been a major fire. Since this experience, I've never used wax candles of any description. I say no to the open flame. Now, my lighting for special occasions is battery operated, and the ambience is just as beautiful. Each Christmas, I still display the scorched card as a reminder as to how lucky we were and how a fire can start in an instant. May this be a warning to us all. There's that one. Salmon, we all know about the salmon. We love the salmon around here. So this is salmon. Before immigrating to Canada in 1974, I came on holiday for 2 months. At the time, my husband was an architectural student, and he found a position working with an Nanaimo architect, Fritz Schultz. I found a position with real estate giant, Mladen Zorkin. Being students, we took jobs for 6 weeks in Nanaimo, and it gave us the opportunity to experience what working in Canada would be like. One afternoon, Fritz invited us to join him and his wife at their cabin on the sea in Lanceville. He took us out on the ocean in his small boat across to the closest little island. 2 fishermen had pulled up there, and they had caught a couple of salmon. Very kindly, they gave one to us, which we took back to the cabin where the salmon was cooked on an open fire. The only salmon I had previously had in England was the processed salmon in a can. This freshly caught Canadian salmon melted in my mouth, which was a taste certainly out of this world, the taste of good things to come. I am sure the amazingly free and isolated beauty of Vancouver Island tempted us to immigrate to Canada. However, I am sure the salmon experience twisted our taste buds so that we longed for more and had a lot to do with returning to this island paradise to make our new home. And on nights like tonight and days like we just experienced after that wonderful sunny weather, a most cozy place is a thought that's very inviting. My most beautiful memory of a cozy place was my grandmother's kitchen at the farmhouse. There was always a fire burning in the grate whenever there was inclement weather. There were chairs around the fire, even a rocking chair that I loved. It was coziest most of all when on a cold winter's day, after taking my horse out for a ride, I would return to the farm totally frozen, my hands and feet being the most frozen of all. Grandma would sit me down by the fire, pull down the iron grate that kept the ashes in, telling me to put my stocking feet on it. It was gloriously warm and my feet soon thawed. She would bring me hot, strong tea and a large slice of homemade bread with butter melting on top. Sometimes she had potato cakes, swimming in butter. So delicious. I soon warmed up, feeling cozy, warm, and loved. Grandmother and I would sit looking into the fire and count how many shapes of animals we could see in the embers. Other times she would read the leaves in my teacup, just for fun. I am now the age of my grandmother, and I often yearn to be able to walk into her kitchen on days when body and spirit need to feel cozy, warmed, and loved. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. I can't help but, when you read that first poem, I can't help but imagine descendants of yours, way down the line coming across this remnant of this card that's burned, and it says deeply romantic card. Whoa, that was a smoker.
It certainly was.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite an experience.
I'm sure. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing those. That was wonderful. Yeah. All right. We're going to have our resident Poet, octogenarian poet. I think I always say that, don't I, Bob? Sorry. Draw attention to your age. It's all right. We're honored that we have an elder amongst us. And Bob's stage name is Joe Lunchbucket, coming from Port Alberni, which was known for years as this Lunchbucket town, which is now transforming into this center of the arts. And Bob, take it away. Looking forward to hearing what you're going to read.
I have a dream that one day the world will achieve civilization when UN government settles all disputes in binding arbitration and negotiated prolonged peace breaks war industry domination. Eisenhower warned, beware of industrial military, and he was scorned. Martin Luther King's effective use of religion was a new sensation. And Jimmy Carter labeled US the world's biggest warring nation. Oh, what a wonderful world it would be if we could all live as peacefully as a bee or ant colony. Would we need NATO if all nations declared neutrality? Whose propaganda do we trust? Is it all manufactured consent, geared to tell us what the 1% want us to know on a staged event? Do they run both parties and are funding and lobbying legal bribery? Is church-state intelligent design best mind control tool to date? Does this opiate scare the hell out of us and cannon fodder sedate? Shall we pray, or are we out of dark ages and opt for technology? Can UN be an asteroid and disaster insurance policy to ensure that the least of society never goes hungry? Can we admit that we're not born equal in luck of life draw and adopt being our brother's keepers as humanity law? Will our generation see we're not the universe's sole creation? Will ET invite us to join Milky Way Galaxy Peace Federation, or send missionaries to proselytize and prep us for colonization? Can they stop global warming, drought, and desertification? Khrushchev removed Russia's nukes from Cuba on US order. Must Russia endure NATO on their border? Does cost of joining it warrant all the lives lost? Stalin redrew Pole-Uk boundaries. Peace resulted in separation. For escalating war, should we demand Putin, Zelensky, and Biden resignation? Will the New World Order bring to reality our dream of civilization?
Thank you, Bob. Beautiful. Very good. Very, very, very good, man. Yes. Civilization. When will it come, eh? we think we're so civilized and we have so far to go, but yeah, we're going to get there. Thank you.
Try a walk along Forgiveness Boulevard.
Oh, who was that?
That was Herb.
Oh, that was you, Herb.
You take a stroll along Forgiveness Boulevard, you might find some peace.
Exactly. It was like God speaking there all of a sudden. Take a stroll. Perfect. All right. We've got about four readers left, all in house here. So how are we feeling? Should we take a little 10-minute break and then we'll finish out with the last four readers? Is that good? I have some thumbs up. All right, some nods. Okay, we're going to take about a 10-minute break. That'll give me time to run out to the car and get my book that I forgot to bring in to read from. So, all right, we'll see you in 10 minutes.
Oh, did you not get it on it?
Oh, oh, thank you. I'm
What's that? Oh, right. Right. Forgot about that.
Yeah, it's Kathleen.
Yeah. So I'm sure she won't mind waiting until January anyway, not a big deal. She's flexible.
Remember you mentioned her to get her on there, so
Okay.
yeah, I mean, that's you know, one other person, they told me to take them off, but that's not. She does that. I'm looking at vendors here and then I thought, and she's ready for the weekend.
No.
I saw her on the federal thing.
Yeah.
Oh, Frans, I gotta get you these.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I corrected his thing earlier. It was not working, but that's because I'm on Facebook. Like when I'm on Facebook, it doesn't work. It's just it's this home. It just says regular page.
Oh.
Curves. So I'm like, it's working, but I'm on regular friends already. So that's why I did it. Like this isn't working.
All right. It's the bathroom here.
He's going to get the little footstool. I can go by. Oh, I still got it way up there. But what? I don't know if I don't want to do it. Thank you, Jason. I'm not at my desk right now. So behind you and right there on the thing, big day. Yeah, it's good to have friends, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask Char whether I should just kind of poll people, get a rough idea from people. Does she have even a spot for us still in between Christmas and New Year's in the last Wednesday of the month? Does she still have that spot if people want it? Hmm? Our usual spot? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Very nice. Let's see how people are feeling.
Right, and that's how I feel. Yeah, right. Yeah. And it's everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible show. That's-
When is it this year? Do you know? Oh, look, do you know when it falls this year? Let me, what did I do with my phone? Char? Should I do like kind of a rough poll of people, whether they want to do?
That's what I like.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think it's so lost. And because I managed to keep it. Wednesday seemed to be.
Right. That's the 14th. Right. Okay, 21st. So 28th is the 28th. Yeah, I'm all right with that too. Karl's not so keen, but we'll see. Yeah, if you get stuff set up prior and let me know, we can struggle by without you once, just once though. Only once, Karl, only once. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how people feel. Still trying to sell. Yeah. We're caught. We're caught, Vicki. And the interest rates just keep going up and oh God. So yeah. It's a horrible place to be. But anyway, we'll get through it. So yeah. Yep. Yeah, we just had our floors redone, our hardwood floors, and the place looks great now. So we had an open house last weekend, had 5 couples come through. One couple was really interested, but they haven't made an offer. You know, so it's just like I don't know. Not drop the price, we can't. If we already did, you know, significantly. So anyway, it'll shake out, you know, we just have to be patient. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
You said you're very good at that.
Okay, I think we should get back to some readings here. We've got everybody online waiting patiently. They're not waving at Char. Everybody wave at Char. There, yeah, okay. Everybody's waving now. Okay. All right. I should let Dean know he's the next one up before he gets seated there. All right. Okay, so just a little note before we get started for our last 4 readers here. We're still debating what to do here in December, and just trying to decide whether we should do the usual last Wednesday of the month, which is I think the 28th this year, or we could do the 14th of December if people would rather do it early and just party all through Christmas into oblivion. But it's really kind of Char's amenable to either. I'm kind of like it on the 28th, but I could go to the 14th too. Some people feel like it's way too busy before Christmas, and some people don't want their holiday interrupted. So maybe the folks out in Zoom land, if you could just put in the chat what your preference would be sometime before we shut it down tonight, that would be great, and we'll have yours, and then we'll do a little show of hands here in for the people in house. So how many people would prefer to have it on the 14th of December, the early one? And how many people would rather have it on the 28th? Okay, of December. Yeah. Okay, so we seem to have a preference for the 28th with the folks in house here. So we'll see how the votes tally up there and on the chat. Sorry. Oh, they're there on the screen. Yeah, there we go. All right. Uh-huh. Both dates, 28th either way. Yeah. 28th. Okay, I think the 28th has it. So we'll go with the 28th. And Karl might not join us because that's his holiday time, but we'll see. By that time, we'll just twist his arm a little bit. He'll show. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So let's get back to some reading here. We've got in-house Dean Lamont, local reader, going to share some, hopefully another Ned story with us. The never-ending Ned collection. I'm hopeful.
Yeah, and thanks to Derek, our omnipresent host and
Most
man of many talents.
Thank you.
All right. Ned sat at his kitchen table looking out the window. There in the gravel driveway sat his new e-bike. Well, not so new, really. But he'd put 600 clicks on her already. Not bad for a year's joyriding. Well, not really joyriding, more light shopping, visiting friends, the odd big trip with a friend. Ned's old 21-speed push bike now resided in the shed out back, but it still got used for the odd cardio pump or social ride. Gazing fondly at his e-bike, he thought, wow, this really beats some of those old beaters I used to ride. The first bike in his life was a heavy old CCM clunker with coaster brakes. After a few trial spills, Ned was coasting, cruising even. He remembered thinking, I'm not walking anywhere anymore. I'm flying on my bike. And fly he did, crawling up hills on the one speed, flying back down. He even kissed a big ditch once when the chain came off. No chain, no brakes on those old coaster bikes. Oh, the fear to pedal backwards and feel no brakes. Only the chain rattling against the sprocket. Ned chose the ditch. It was better than booming down the hill and trying to cross Wellington, one of the main drags in Burnaby. And then there was a paper route when he got older. Up at the crack of dawn or before, up to the paper shack to pick up his papers and load up his front carrier. And somehow, despite the rain, the dogs, the cold, the paper would get through. In the summer, though, he and Ed Black would raid people's fruit trees, gorging themselves on cherries, plums, and pears. And then after a few years, Ned and Ed were too old to pedal their funnies, as they called it. Back then, it wasn't cool to be seen riding a bike once you got a bit older. But luckily, after Ned finished high school, bikes became cool again. And now there were 10 speeds, mountain bikes, you name it. After that, no matter where Ned lived, T.O., Ottawa, London, Oslo, Regina, San Francisco, there was always an old beater leaning against the house or even in the bedroom. In his 40s, Ned, always prone to exorbitant fantasies, conceived of a plan to ride across Canada for some noble cause, to publicize the new Trans-Canada Trail, perhaps. And so he began training, riding up Burnaby Mountain, down the other side, around Burrard Inlet, up through Port Moody to Sassamat Lake. But alas, Ned had the heart, the legs, and the lungs, but the back end let him down. Even if he wore the executive quality bike shorts, padded in all the right places, He just didn't have the cast iron buttocks needed for long distance cycling. Once again, Ned had to part company with a grandiose fantasy. He'd seen the cause gaining momentum, heard the crowds lining the streets, but then he felt his sore ass. Back on solid ground, years later, living in a housing co-op in Burnaby, Ned began visiting his sister, Arlene, who had moved to Port Alberni. Soon, the ever-restless Ned was considering buying a house in Port Alberni. You couldn't buy a woodshed in Vancouver for the price of a fixer-upper in Port. And soon he was out on his 21 speed at all hours, cruising the town. Ned had a fear of moving into a hick town. But PA, he saw, at least had a library, a pool, a theater, a women's center, etc. Sure, there were the boneheads who flew by you in big, black, noisy trucks. But Ned reasoned, as it says in the Bible, the poor will always be with you. It seemed that no matter what town you were in, the knuckleheads were always there too. And so Ned foolishly bought the small duplex he'd been looking at, borrowed money from one sister, and installed another in one end of the duplex to manage everything. And off he went in an old Ford pickup with a homemade camper on the back to Fort McMurray, Fort Crack McHurry, he would later call it, to somehow live in the back of the truck, somehow pay for the house and the loan from his sister. But life had been tough. At other times, perhaps it was bad karma adhering from past lives. Sometimes it was just plain stupidity. And off he went, an old 21 speed Rolly strapped to the tailgate. So here I am years later, Ned thought, wondering at the reliable little shiny e-bike parked in his own driveway. Surely this is the way of the future. The whole world will become like the Netherlands, bikes, e-bikes, racks and charging stations everywhere. The roads filled with e-cars and e-trucks. And some of the drivers would be cursing the cyclists. And some of the cyclists would be cursing some of the drivers. Some things never change. Thank you.
Ain't it the truth? Yeah, we've finally got bike lanes in Port Alberni. I don't know, I see runners in there and I see cars driving in there and a few cyclists. But I saw a study that if you put up guards, you know, those floppy guards, but between the cycling lanes and the traffic, that the number of cyclists just explodes exponentially. So maybe we need to start lobbying town council for that next. Anyway, awesome. Thank you for that, Dean. And so now we're going to have a little bit of comedy entertainment from Monica. She's come in costume tonight. Getting in the spirit for Halloween. Okay.
My experience here in Port Alberni, going to the hairdresser.
Aha.
Day one, I went to First Choice Haircut Place. I wanted to color my hair blonde. First Choice, do cuts, no color. Hey, how difficult can it be to do some color, right? Let's try. I'm open to experiment. So I'm blonde, a touch of red pigment when sun shines on my hair. Hairdresser number one, we have colors. What do you want? Blonde. Hairdresser number two, lavender is good for you.
Think of lavender. It's light shade of purple or violet. Lavender has a blue tint. Think about a lavender flower. No, I want blonde. 2 hours later, I was ginger. Day 2, I went back to first choice haircut place. I need this ginger color out. Oh yes, it will be fixed. No problem. And tone it down to a nice blonde. 3 hairdressers are mixing double toners, ash, and chemicals that I had never seen. My eyes are big. The more cooks in the kitchen, the better it gets, right? I was thinking of India Aries song. I'm not my hair. I'm not my skin. I'm a soul that lives within. 2 hours later, I look like Garfield. Day 3, I walked into first choice haircut place. I walked in from a plus 30 Celsius hot fall day into a freezing minus 30 degrees Celsius room. We are working hard, so we need the air conditioning on. Maybe it was intentionally done. I cannot look like Garfield, and the boss took over. I will fix this. You will see and get you warmed up as well. She put a plastic cape over me and a hot air blower under the cape. And the cape started to go up, up, up. Gooey mud pie on my hair. Long fingers massaging the chemicals and the colors. Fingernail falling in for extra support. My head looked like a tree branch sticking out in every direction. Plastic cap on. Visualize this. Round balloon on my head and a big round balloon on my body with beet red face. Now, I looked like I was ready for Halloween. 2 hours later, where is the mirror? Who has taken it? Station 1, Station 2, Station 3. Found it, found it, found it. And I looked in the mirror. My hair is multicolored and it's thicker and it has been longer. Wow. Thank you very much to all hairdressers involved that took their magic wands and swirled them around like Cinderella's fairy godmothers. And yes, I became Cinderella. So this is my love. So this is what makes life divine. First choice is definitely not the last choice. Thank you very much. Any
Thank-
questions? What do you think?
I think the old saying about having to suffer to be beautiful, well, you proved it's true. Yes.
I agree, 100%. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Vicki Drybrough is our next reader. She's a local Port Alberni writer of prose and poetry, and I'm not sure what she's going to share tonight, whether it's going to be the former or the latter, but I'll let her tell us all about it. Yeah, pull that down. Way down.
That's pretty close, is it? Is that close enough?
Yeah, just keep your mouth close to the mic there, because it.
Closer?
Yeah, right up there to. pick up.
Closer?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
As long as they can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay. See if I can see my writing. Okay, there we go. I've been writing on a novel, writing a novel, and it's just such hard work. And I finally cracked, and I just sat down and I wrote this poem. And afterwards I thought, I really love this. And back in July, I think it was, when I was here last, Monica and I had a discussion about poetry, and she said that she liked poetry that rhymed. So, Monica, this is for you. It is called Anecdote Annie. Anecdote Annie wears colorful clothes, a green leopard raincoat, purple boa and a rose, crimson pants with biking shorts, yellow boots that show her toes, a voice like whiskey, a smile sublime that starts in her eyes and grows. Annie has a room in an old hotel she shares with her friend named Jack, a Chihuahua Terrier kind of dog that sleeps in a blue canvas sack. There are bowls full of shells, ribbons and beads, and everywhere books by the stack, dresses and skirts, some trimmed in lace, an old mannequin, arms still intact. On top of the dresser, sprouting flowers and bows, projecting tenacity just where it sat, with a soft, droopy brim that was faded and frayed, lay her stained old blue bucket hat. She wore it in rain, she wore it in snow, and always when she sat down to chat. When she'd finished her story, she'd slap her hat on her knee and cackle, "What do you think about that?" Anecdote Annie tells wonderful tales of men with no compass and women tough as nails, of smuggling and escaping and galleon-eating gales, of poxes and curses and swimming with whales. I saw her in the afternoon in zebra pants and feathers, an embroidered fur-lined Afghan coat to protect her from the weather. And in the evening, there she sat in front of City Hall, spinning tales for all to hear, with her dog, her hat, and all. There are people who don't like her, who don't find her thoughts profound, still others who abuse her, say her mind is far from sound. But Annie starts to weave a tale, and there's silence all around. People standing, people leaning, others sitting on the ground. One day, a friend records her, puts her narrative online. Her tales have now gone viral. She's famous far and wide. There's a movie in the making. All her friends are filled with pride. But Anecdote Annie takes everything in stride. Some call her a charlatan, others say she's a whore. But Anecdote Annie only laughs all the more. She has people to meet, new ideas to explore. And before very long, there's talk of a tour. Anecdote Annie lives on my street. We smile and say hi whenever we meet. She's respectable now, soft-spoken, discreet.
I'm glad that she's happy, that her life is complete. But I miss the old Annie who wore colorful clothes, her green leopard raincoat with a boa and a rose, crimson pants with biking shorts, yellow boots that showed her toes, a voice like raw whiskey, her smile so sublime. They transported me back to a whole other time. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that, Vicki. Yeah, you should do that rhyming stuff more often. That's fun. All right, I'm going to jump up to the podium here and do a quick read to close the evening out. All right, how's the volume when I don't croak? How's the volume? Is that all right? Yeah, we just gotta. Oh yeah, yeah. I guess I am taller than Vicki after all. Just a little. All right, this is. I'm going to read just a couple of pages out of something else altogether. This is a story I did quite a while ago about what happened when my father passed away, and it's called Requiem in Two Fonts. And basically what it is it toggles back and forth paragraph by paragraph between memories that are flashing back through my mind and then the actual experience of being in the hospital with him that last 12 days when he was still alive. It was early 60s. Excuse me. It was early 60s, still deep in the days of Father Knows Best and Bonanza. My mother got some unexpected back pay from the spice factory where she worked, and rare treats were in order, meaning a big screen with Julie Andrews, Chris Plummer, meaning a bag of black licorice split 5 ways. I came out of that one transported, my hand in his and my head on some distant planet called Austria, where everyone sang in 5-part harmony. When the record player and the Sound of Music LP arrived that Christmas, we wore grooves in that record as deep as the height of the 3 pennies needed to keep the needle from skipping over the vinyl. For years after, anyone in our house could raise a lone soprano or tenor, as he often did, singing, "The hills are alive," and know with complete certainty that a chorus of "ah" would resound mysteriously from distant bedrooms and bathtubs. Then it switches. Fresh off the plane from Vancouver Island, I touched down at your bedside. Your body is swollen with fluid aftermath, your hand bloated like an inflated rubber glove. I look hard to see past the tubes, to see the man who used to sit with his leg out straight for 2 kids to hang from. The man who woke us up to see the Leafs get the cup. Yeah, that long ago. The one who taught me how to skate, ride, drive, sing, and feel this sorrow. The tiny pump they left in you makes your entire body twitch as if you're continually falling off the edge of sleep. And then suddenly you're fast water, rippling from head to toe, the whole bed shaking. The nurses are there in an instant saying, "This way to the waiting room." It switches back then. That last summer is crystalline now. The way the sun highlighted his body as he stood jaunty on the beach, joy emanating from his face as he rocked from one foot to the other, telling me story after story until his past took on a form in patchwork collage. The accident in St. John's Fog, his father crying the whole night long when my uncle died in the war. The reason I never saw my father eat peanut butter. We cooked hot dogs over a campfire every other day that July, until I knew the shadow sides too, the occasional Friday night toots we lived oblivious to as kids, the flirtatiousness that charmed the young nurses in the hospital where he worked as a pharmacist, the locker room jokes. Evenings at the kitchen table, we played crazy eights with the kids and he traded musical riffs with his oldest grandson, singing out phrases like the lead in a satirical opera. "Are you going out now, Billy? Yes, I am, so Grandpa. Are you going out now, Grandpa?" And it switches. Beside you, I try not to will you to move, though a part of me longs to make a Lazarus out of you and see you swing your tired legs over to the floor. Pop music wheedles out of a small speaker at the head of your bed, floats in and out of my awareness just as you rise and sink through the many layers of presence. And I want to turn it off, or at least change the station, but the ward is full of dying, and we need this small distraction to tell us the rest of the world is going on out there, whistling along to old Petula Clark tunes and wondering what to wear to work tomorrow. No one here ever complains about having spent enough time or about not having spent enough time at the office as a nurse. And I think of Ginsberg living his life through the grave. Think of a friendly mother wishing she hadn't cleaned so much. Think of my own children plugged in while I mark that eternal set of papers. But here is the great scrubbing board, the place where all the squabbles turn ridiculous, and the moment comes down to the next breath and the next, and hopefully another. After too many days of trying to do it for you, I leave it to the machines and their woeful sign, the monitor charting your every heartbeat, flicker, or fluctuation. The respirator bellows steady as the IV drip. And switches. He was always a relaxed traveler, whether co-piloting the family vacation with his arm draped over the seat so my brother and I could suck, knead, and mold the loose flap of skin on his elbow into new and alarming shapes, or even holding the line up at the door to the aircraft while he pulled half a dozen old boarding passes from his many pockets before finally finding the right one tucked into the book he'd been reading in the waiting area. Wherever he was, you knew some part of him was back, lingering over the piano, letting his fingers flesh out some sentimental melody with long cascading runs that seemed to begin at his toes and spiral up his body until the emotion flowed out of his mouth in extended quavering sounds that mimicked the words he rarely remembered. Once I dropped him at the U of C library with his assurance that he knew the way home, only to get a phone call in the dusk of 5 p.m. with an address and a not to hurry, she has a piano. 20 minutes later, I walked up the strange woman's front stairs to the familiar strains of Climb Every Mountain and was greeted by a smiling white head saying, "Just let him finish this piece, won't you? There's a dear." Thank you. So thank you everyone for coming out to Electric Mermaid tonight, and thank you to our Zoom joiners as well. Great evening of reading. Big thanks to Char for taking care of us one more time and making this all happen so smoothly and seamlessly wherever she went. Thank you, Char. Oh, there you are at the back. Thank you. Yes, thank you, thank you. And thank you to Karl, our moderator, for keeping us on track as well and setting everything up. And to all the readers and the listeners who came out tonight, big-hearted thanks. And just a reminder then, we're going to go with the 28th of December. And Karl reminded me, Jennifer, I hope you're still online, that we usually don't do a featured reader in December, and we throw the 5-minute limit out the window. So if you want to do something a little bit longer, you can. Just don't be too long, but you know, up to 10 minutes or whatever, that's okay. We're going to loosen things up a little bit. And of course, seasonal stuff is always welcome, but it doesn't have to be. So until then, everybody.
And thank you to Derek. And thanks to Derek for being our MC.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
So Derek, are you thinking of pushing me to January? Maybe is that the?
Yeah, if that's okay with you, Jen, would you be all right with that to go?
Yeah, no, that's fine. It actually would give more time to get the logistics sorted out with my editor.
Awesome. All right, let's do that then.
Yes,
we have you in cement for January.
Yes, just
in a good way.
Just email me and remind me.
Yeah. Dean.
Yes, November the 30th.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I guess we'll do November too.
Just skip November or into December.
You know, got Christmas on my mind. Just get November over with.
The month of November, you know.
But yeah. So the last Wednesday in November, usual time, usual place.
So November 30th, and it's Pat Bacana.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, Dean. People might have got the wrong impression for sure. Yes, God.
No, we'll just get rid of that month. Why
Yeah.
not?
All right. Take care, everybody. Keep writing, keep reading, and we'll look forward to seeing you in a month's time back here at the Electric Mermaid. Good night, all.
Thank you very much. Good night, all.
I hope to see you out here sometime soon, Jen.
We'll see, Karl.
All right, we're saying goodbye.
Yes, we said goodbye, yes.
Leave me to